Cheers. Thank you. Sweet. Okay. Right, I've got the stream ready. Are the teams on now?
Yes. Yeah,
okay, right.
That is Coorparoo in the light blue and purple. That is Southport the black.
I'm just going to put you guys on in a second. You guys ready to talk? Okay.
Yeah, ready.
I'll... Right. So when I hit that, it should be on. Okay. Team's coming on now. Palms up in 3, 2, 1, block.
Hello and welcome to the Bond University QAFLW. It is round 6, Sir Doug Nicholls round. The Coorparoo Kings sitting on 2 wins and 2 losses and a draw, hosting the Southport Sharks. This year's competition benchmark, undefeated from 5 games and still yet to be truly challenged by any competitor. My name's Hannah Davies. I'm your host today, and a very warm welcome to Daniel Vars, my lead caller.
Hello, Hannah. How are you doing today?
Very, very good. We're over here at Giffen Park, the castle, nearly 4:45 in the afternoon, and conditions looking pretty good. The sun's setting, so another game of what will be soon night footy.
It's a wonderful thing about the 4:45 starts. There are some disadvantages to it, but the sunset happens at half-time. And if you're watching this on a replay and you skip forward from the end of the second quarter to the beginning of the third quarter, the sun will have disappeared in that time. It's quite a lovely setting. And if you come here to Giffen Park and sit on the far side, you get a bit of sun in your eyes, but you also get a city skyline view in the background. It's a lovely place to watch football from here.
Certainly is. And before we get any further underway, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we broadcast from and play a great game of Aussie rules here today. We're on Yuggera and Turrbal land. I'd like to pay my respect to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to any First Nations people listening or here watching today. So Doug Nicholls round, of course, is happening across the AFL as well, and it's a very important part of the Aussie rules calendar here in Queensland as well. And it really just recognises the impact of First Nations people in this sport, which is immense and has been since the sport was even first created. It always was and always is Aboriginal land here today. Well, Daniel, we've only got a few minutes until that first bounce, but let's just take a look at, I guess, the matchup we've got today. It's Coorparoo Kings sitting in 4th, a bit of a dark horse of the competition, if you would. They've had some really great wins and then a shock loss last week.
They were one down last week. They lost a player, and it was Laura Blue, Team of the Year fullback from last year, so a fairly big out on the day. Although we will see her playing a bit further forward in this match. She has moved forward to the wing. Here's the intriguing thing about today's matchups. A lot of the team stats, Coorparoo are leading for a lot of their pressure acts around the ground. They, as a team, they're working brilliantly. For Southport, their team stats are incredible as well, but the individual stats, they've got 7 of the top 10 players in the comp for inside 50 entries. Steph O'Brien leads that list. They've got 6 of the top 7 tacklers. For contested possessions, they've got 5 of the top 10. For disposals, they've got 5 of the top 10. It's the same names appearing all the time. Steph O'Brien, Georgia Bruard, Maddie Watt, a bit of Rihanna Shipp in there. Maggie O'Connell out today, the leading goal kicker in the competition, but they've still got Darcy Davis and Taylor Gregory up forward. Here's how they do it. They're able to get the ball quickly forward inside 50. Usually Lily Pearce, she has got this year, just trying to find the number, 148 hit-outs this year. You can celebrate her 150th when she gets her second tap win of the day today. In the QAFLW, the Bond University QAFLW, she's got 148. Second is Renee Tees of Maroochydore with 69. She leads by 79 hit-outs. Some opponents aren't even going up against her. Here's how the match will start. Lily Pearce will win the first ruck. She will tap it down to Poppy Bolts. Around the back, Maddie Watt will run, and she will look to get it inside 50 to Darcy Davis. Then from there, they'll just look for an opening. That's my prediction. I'm pretty confident.
Well, we'll see in a few minutes if you're correct. As you can see, the players just taking their positions now. Coorparoo, the home side, with their beautiful Indigenous jerseys there, and Southport, the support staff, coaching team, and all the health staff have also got a really great top they're donning. You can't see that one on camera, but yeah, just great to see both teams getting around the round. A very, very special round here. And our umpires today, brought to you by Bradnam's Windows and Doors. You'll see on the field there, number 50 with the ball, that's Tristan Burgess. Number 22, Sam Ward.
We'll hear the others in a moment as Tristan Burgess gets it underway. Lily Pearce under a good amount of pressure in the contest from Emily Robertson, her first year in the competition. And Hannah McLaughlin, crucial today. Eventually it comes out to Maddie Watt. She pushes forward. Poppy Bolt's in pursuits. Likewise, Sarah Ingram. Ruby Mitchell in 57 comes back. Looks inside for Georgia Brouard. Had a couple of pumps, then eventually gave it over the top. The pressure in defence coming from Bridget Taylor. Out the back to Poppy Bolt. She stumbles away. Had she stayed on her feet, that could have been dangerous. Mitchell out the back. Still able to maintain possession. Bolt's dancing. Kick partially smothered. Forward in the contest. Coorparoo putting lots and lots of pressure on, which is exactly what they needed to do. They've caused the turnover. The handball wasn't quite as accurate as they would have wanted. Turnover again. Poppy Bolts with the shot. Across the face. First point to Southport.
It didn't take very long at all for them to get something on the scoreboard. Very, very quick start from Southport indeed. And he pretty much did call Dan the first few touches of that play.
I was slightly off, but I'll take it as Coorparoo work it out. This is crucial for them because this is where Southport like to lock it inside 50. Darcy Davis dropped it, but then the 2-on-1 on the Coorparoo player as it comes out towards the boundary. This will be out on the full, but I think Coorparoo will appreciate the distance gained.
Oh, come out!
Georgia Brouard just hits it into centre field. Darcy Davis just didn't quite put her body in position there to maintain contact. Isla Fraser gets a 1-2. Back to Blue.
Chloe.
More on Bluey in a second. In fact, they'll do it now. Boundary throwing. Congratulations to Laura Blue. 50 games for Coorparoo today. A monumental achievement for really one of the most loved players in the Bond University QAFLW.
Yeah, it's a massive figure to rack up in this competition. You only play, 14 games per year, and that's if you play every game, and then a couple more if it's finals. And that name, Bluey, she's synonymous with this club now and has been such a key figure for them, and you'll see plenty more of her today.
Just such a fun player to watch. She's unguarded at the back of this contest. Emily Robinson with the tackle just a moment ago. Loses out to Pearce, but puts some pressure on. Good hustling around the ball. That was kicked away to Blue.
Yeah, Southport putting it on the boot. I think that one just dropping a bit shorter than they were hoping.
The defensive mark falls to Alder out the back. Her kick was scuffed. Goes out to Lee Alder. We have an order for both sides today. I'll differentiate in a moment. Handball's off the ground. Perry back across goal. The handballer is confident, and that is brilliant work out the back to Ship. Ship looking for Bolts, battled with Blue. Bustling to the ground is Peyton Mackey on debut in the 58 jersey for Southport. 17-year-old, big raps on her from all concerned. Pearce to Bolts. Bolts has plenty of space. She'll go straight through the guts, finds O'Brien, who started further forward today. Coorparoo have a couple of numbers back. She dances around Edmonds. O'Brien will get yet another inside 50. Over the top to Maloof. Maloof in space. Brought down by Federhugic. Spilled it loose. They're going to be able to clear, but Isla Federhugic, stunning. Out to Young. They just removed the microphone from my throat. Out towards Sexton. Historically important figure in this competition. 3 premierships, 2 here and 1 with Coolangatta. Lee Alder in the 11 for Coolangatta. Courtney Alder is in the 55 for Coorparoo. Brought to ground pretty much in centre field.
Really hard defence so far from Coorparoo. Just already putting their bodies on the line to put a stop to that speed that Southport are well known for. You'll see it here, just straight on the foot, and they love a foot race, don't they?
Well done mentioning speed immediately before Maddie Watt got her hands on the ball. And then Hannah Davies, rather. Again, once and once only. Yes, same name in the come box. We'll get over it. Ingram finds Mitchell. Mitchell kicks it into Young's back. Young has many ways of stopping the opposition play. That's one of them.
If it works, it works.
I know. 4-time premiership winner herself. Actually 3. She missed 1 grand final, but she's been at Coorparoo since the beginning in 2013.
Go up to number 2.
Boundary throwing on the eastern side of the ground. Robinson battling hard with Pearce. That was a throw on the ground, so the free kick will go to Robinson. Robinson will keep it down the line. There weren't really many options around. Fumbling by Sexton, wasn't quite able to hold onto it. Bailey has her wrapped up. Bailey works well on the ground. Was looking for Maddie Galt on debut. And hello to anyone watching from the Waratah Club in the Northern Territory.
One of our boundary umpires throwing that one in, Jack Boyce and Darren Burgess. And our goal umpires today, Mark Jackson and Liz Smiley. Brought to you by Bradham's Windows and Doors.
Sexton battles with Bolts on the getting towards the southeastern corner of Giffen Park.
Where's number 11 coming?
We'll hear lots of trains today, so that'll appeal to both old blokes and Thomas the Tank Engine fans.
They're number 11.
Pierce Robinson battling well onto Young. Young enters 50, goes back towards Lee Alder. She goes back to Hunter Perry. Perry, lovely little step. And I see she's got the Aboriginal flag transfer on her left arm, so her showing her support for Sir Doug Nichols round. Fraser pumping it back inside 50. Good effort from the back, but the mark in traffic was taken by Bridget Taylor. Not the tallest player in that contest, but plenty of physical strength. She goes to centre half forward. Off the back, Perry will clean up. Looks for room on the left. Ship had her back to her when the hand pass came in. Over the top to what? Sorry, Hannah.
Southport numbers are just everywhere right now, particularly in that forward 50.
Bolt stepped inside Oliver, turning it around very rapidly. Comfortable mark by O'Brien.
Nearly gets a head taken off there.
Take more than that to take Steph O'Brien's head off. Looks from aloof, clears her. Fraser tracking back. Running onto it, Hannah Davies. Not able to get onto it. And we'll call that a behind to Davies.
Chloe, okay? Chloe?
Soccer scoreline of 2-0. You're absolutely right, Hannah, about the speed of Southport. Their leg run's incredible. And they usually maintain it right until full time. Bolts, sorry.
Coorparoo just seems to be putting a lot of their focus in defence, and I guess that's, credit to Southport and their ability. But when I think they're moving too far into their own attack as well, and that's allowing Southport, when they do get the turnover, to just really run with it.
So Schneider now, Sexton out the back cleverly. Every Southport defender in the contest moved forward. And the reason they did was apparently illegal, so the free kick will go back to the Sharks. They play inside to Darcy Davis. But yeah, I think you could forgive Coorparoo for putting numbers behind the ball early. O'Brien on the lead. Saw a static Fraser in front of her, thought if I attack that, I'm going to get there first.
It almost looked like an intercept, didn't it? Like the ball wasn't exactly where it should have been, and her speed just got her there.
Chips over the top. Went too far to go to Gregory. Federhugic missed it at the back. Feet go flying. That might have been Mitchell. Federhugic again. Lovely step from Taylor. She's had a strong start. All the way back to Farrell, who took a very good mark earlier in the quarter. And a lovely take on the far side. Might be like golf. Apologies if misidentified. Inside, Lamon working back. Going forward for that was Mackie. Bolts does a 360, decides to kick it inside 50. Found Hannah Davies, dropped in flight. Mitchell inside to O'Brien. The handballing superb. Gregory opens the scoring.
Well, we said earlier that, Maggie O'Connell's out, but Gregory is just as good, really. What a great target she is, and really accurate too.
Taylor Gregory played a bit of top grade last year and was good. And then this year, her agility has improved, her bodywork has improved. Pleasure to watch Taylor Gregory, and certainly racking up the goals this season. I think she might be up to number 8. No, I've given her too many there. 5.
5, very good. She's a former Cardiff player in New South Wales. I think that's near Newcastle. My geography's not brilliant, but...
I was trying not to mention that today because I've overdone it, but yes, Cardiff is one of the Newcastle clubs. Lots of great people come from Newcastle, and me. Brouard with the tackle just between square and arc, and it will be a ball up, let's say 52 from goal. And my auntie lived in Cardiff. Pierce. Brouard, no one cares. Commentate the football, Daniel. Coorparoo calls the turnover at the back. That's superb work from Sexton. She's been busy early, through to Blue. The milestone woman Going forward, looking for Young, clears both her and Hunter. Fell to Crosby, who's in the first grade side this week. I think she's the all-time leading scorer in reserve grade. Certainly a prolific goal kicker. Good work at the back, but it's a dump tackle. And it will be a free kick to Southport. Just hoping that Baldwin's all right, and given that my first description of her given by a teammate was beast, of course she's all right.
Well, a lot of Southport players finding themselves free from any kind of opposition, but that looked way too easy though, as I just said that.
Well, Blue, she's been playing on the right, went over to the left because that's where the team needed her, took the mark. Schneider into Oliver, who's playing higher. Oliver going inside 50, looking for Young, just overcooked it. Hunter will see that over the boundary. But that's probably the first time in this quarter we've seen Coorparoo really attack the ball in the same way that Southport were doing at the left-hand end of the ground. 8-point lead to the Sharks. Ladder leaders.
Well, you said it took them probably about 11 minutes to kind of warm up into the game, Dan. But you get the sense that Coorparoo are building closer and closer as that one just slips through the hands.
Goes back to Ship knocking it on. Good work in the contest from Kaylee Brighton on debut in the 35 shirt. But the turnover occurs through Ship. Turnover queen in the last couple of weeks. Galt, handball over the top to Mackie. Mackie. That's a pretty accurate pass on your first grade debut. I think there's a reason she got selected. The tackle from Oliver. She is a 100-mile-an-hour player, Taya Oliver. And an absolute pleasure to watch for anyone who loves their footy old school. Blue tries to get around Plooples. 3/4 breaks the tackle. Heads forward. Good effort in the contest from Emily Robinson. Strong start. No one giving anyone any space at all. Out to Hunter in the back pocket. Put down by Blue, throwing herself everywhere. As she's done in her previous 49 games for this club.
She's got to come. Look out, play, good spot. She's crossed the 20. Kels! Kels! Kelsey! Kelsey!
So Coorparoo in a microcosm of their season. The stats for the team are looking excellent. Inside 50's good. Possession's good. Disposal efficiency good. But no points. Blue out on the full, but trying to kick with the outside of the right boot while at full speed. I'll forgive her that one.
Well, spending a pretty even amount of time in both teams' possession is the interesting thing, but, you know, Southport, as we know, are never afraid to go for goal, and they're generally a little bit more accurate.
Coorparoo has been inaccurate this season. Serena Belunda wrapped up straight away by Jess Watts, escorted very nicely over the boundary line. All part of the service.
And of course, Coorparoo had a fair few outs today, so this outfit is a little bit different looking for them.
Lily Pearce missed it, went to Robinson. Watts, intercepted by Sexton. Sexton showing all her experience. That should fall to Hunter. She backed away under pressure from Young. It's unlike Hunter. Lamon looking for crumbs out the back. Hunter fighting hard now. That's more like her. Lamon around the outside. Looking for... All on her own was Crosby. Just fell over her head. Swept up by Darcy Davis, who's gone back. Good handball to find Tamsin Perry. Over the head of Bolts. She's in a lot of space, though. She's got time to grow a herb garden. Outside to Ship.
Yeah, it's certainly dangerous sides if you've got Bolt free.
Good work, Ayla.
And there's O'Brien to Bolt. And back.
Inside, good intercept mark from Bonnie Farrell. Come down from the Curra Swans this year. Hello to our North Queensland friends. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast from what we call the Queensland State League, and it is, but I realise that we're a long way away from parts of this state that absolutely love their footy. I don't want to create a city-country divide here. Accurate kick across goal to Feather Huggich. Head of O'Brien. Calling for players to come in because the support's a fair way away. She has to pump it out to Sexton. Ship's on her, and Ship got the better of the battle. Through to Bolts. Brushes off an opponent in Collins. Maloof tracking back. Gets the handball across to Belunda. She fumbles. Inside, looking for Brouard. Didn't find her. Brouard will clean up the crumbs now. She had an open shot on goal. She has a goal. Georgia Brouard.
Structured wise, isn't it? It's just scrappy foot.
How long is Robbo resting for?
Not the normal Southport style here. They've scored 2 goals from counter-attacks. Normally, and we saw this against Bonds 2 weeks ago, they will set up camp in the forward 50 metres, pressure and pressure and pressure until they get the result. Here, Cooper has had them in the defensive 50. When they get a chance to break out, vroom.
Well, I think that's been their advantage, is just how fast they are, and as well their fitness is really incredible, and their ability to just take that speed, particularly someone like Bolts. I mean, when she gets the ball and there's any kind of space around her, it's incredibly difficult to stop her.
Pierce, who probably brought up 150th hit out a little while ago, comes forward. That was in the back. So the free kick will go against Crosby to Mackie. Mackie looking to enter inside 50 the traditional Southport way. Running underneath it was Davies. Oliver had it knocked out of her possession. Bolts crashing through. Oliver with a second effort. Inside goes to Maloof. Maloof had enough time, enough space. Got the angle wrong. Minus score for Maloof.
Robbo!
It was pretty far out. I don't have a good kick on there.
Now, Cooper have been able to break this so far, but this is normally where teams struggle against Southport, getting it out of 50, because Southport has 3 midfielders and 2 wingers. And Abby Plooples turns up on cue. Inside to Gregory, back to Plooples, looping. Good pressure from Lamon. So Cooper has done better than most teams in holding it up. The handball from Gregory and Mitchell. So many Kings jerseys around the contest. Just not able to get anything meaningful to Sexton. Now they work, although it's gone straight to Plooples. Clean bowls her to Fairs. We haven't seen Fairs in space yet, but she is quick. Plooples in towards the 50. Bounces in front of O'Brien. Oliver tried to move wide, tried to break through 3 tackles. Kind of succeeded. Out to Sexton. Sexton hits the turf about 51 metres from goal. Umpire will blow it up.
Love to see the sides keep utilising that handball. We saw it a lot earlier, perhaps, even 5 minutes ago. Just so much more accurate for these two sides when it's in this heavy contest and really congested. Anytime they kind of put it on the foot, it's a bit more rushed and tends to be less accurate.
Called holding, so Ruby Mitchell has the free kick just outside 50. Excellent points, Hannah. We'll talk more about the handball in a moment, but you're absolutely right about how they use it. O'Brien over the top. Gregory chasing hard. Had McLaughlin onto her straight away. Cleared it sideways.
2 on 1 there.
And they've worked well, Cooper. They had the 2 on 1. Sexton looking for Crosby. That's a wonderful mark low to the ground. But here's how I saw Coorparoo play here in a pre-season game, and it was notable how much they've been working on their handball over the off-season. And it's a way to get to the top of the table. If you can handball cleanly and get the ball moving by any means possible, you're probably going to make finals. Alder and Lamon at the back. Lamon knocked it back. O'Brien was there. Play on. Rightly so. That was around below the shoulders. Lamon out to Sexton. Sexton over the top of Schneider, who looked a little bit disappointed because she knew that behind her were 2 Sharks. Puts pressure on Perry. Fairs got there quickly on Lee Alder. Lamon just made sure that she was low enough. Ingram goes forward to the contest. To go over the head of Mackie. Edmonds ran a little bit underneath it. The work on the ground is fierce from Coorparoo, and they win the free kick.
Cooper's defence has been really relentless, but it's that offload going down that's often been the problem.
Oh, one-handed mark from Crosby. Usually the best reserve grader in the competition. Over the head of Fairs. Fairs versus Perry. Both are quick. Perry got there first. Fairs made sure the boundary was second. On this ground a few times 2 years ago in Fairs' first season. There were 2 goals, one at each end of the ground, where she just blitzed her opponent, got the ball next to them, and suddenly was 10 metres in front. Gregory inside, bit of space as Schneider hits it across. Ship went for the tap. Not sure it was the right move. Mackie did well, found Bolts. Bolts in space. The handball out to Ship again. Ship's work supporting the ball carrier has been tremendous. And I'll praise her because Bolt's kicked it away to Feta Huggage. Back from whence it came, Bailey. Oh, love a bit of force and backs.
A little bit of tennis here. Well, that's the defence from both sides, really.
Siren is imminent. The clock's gone past 20 minutes. But just a few reminders that pressing the buzzer might not be the worst idea in the world. Southport score here, there'll be some controversy. They maintain possession on the eastern wing. They may get another inside 50. Well, they would have if they hadn't kicked it down the throat of Bonnie Farrell. That's a train hooter. That's not a siren. As Farrell's told to go behind the mark. We're coming up. It's 20 minutes 45 seconds. There is some concern. The Coorparoo bench.
Well, you're exactly right, Dan. If either team really managed to score right now, it's definitely going to end up in a bit of controversy.
Lemon there. Hunter cleaning up at the back as the spiral kick came in. Lemon went near the shoulders but not over them. Hunter going back. This is a bizarre situation. I don't know whether someone's just madly trying. There we go.
Well, that finally wraps up the first quarter. Southport, the visitors, currently in the lead 2-3, 15 to Coorparoo, still on nil. We'll be back after this.
Yeah. Your analysis has gone up 2 levels since last time. You've been working hard. So.
Good. I think I'm just more confident this time to actually
That's it. So, yeah, I mean, you can watch it this whole time. Daniel is just going how cold. Yes.
Someone took it.
I took it.
No,
I took all the over.
I felt better.
Oh. Yeah, legend.
so either someone had spilt their tea, or they were sitting there going, "It's not working." I was waiting for it, like boundary umpire to sort of go, just.
You make me
That's resulted in a guy leaning out the window going,
A big mic.
break the glass and there's an emergency crow.
she's been waiting for 40 years for this.
Oh dear.
When you mentioned your aunt, I could not stop laughing.
I was grinning for so long.
Because she's one I keep mentioning from Newcastle each week, and so I thought, no, give it the rest today. Then you came up with that. So all right, play along then. Oh dear. Yes. That's it. No, no, no. Yep. And only because I'm looking at Taylor rather than Taylor. Oh, no, I just. It's just 5, there's no H, sorry. It's why people don't invite you.
I was just going to say, Taylor is my friend with my friend Steph.
Awesome. So, I know she works at the hospital that's next to Southport. So, I was in New York, so I'm not looking for fun because that would be a dumb thing to do. But was that your friend just telling you? Cool.
I just said, I'm confident. She was like, your voice is so deep. I was like, that's why we had gone to.
It's a very pleasant sounding voice generally. And so,
High pitched voices, I like really listen to.
Which is why you are learning comedy. Well, no.
I got something different.
No. I 100% was not about to say that one eye, but I think for assuming on insurance. So, but no, I am waiting for women to find because at the moment, most of the women in the country are trying to sound like me.
Yeah.
And someone's going to break through and find a voice that is identifiably feminine and still gets the message across in a way that's good to hear. And I cannot name it to you. Someone is going to break through and change the world of commentary for the better because they find not just how they sound, but what to focus on, what to talk about.
This side, bring you back in, I suppose. You're ready? Make sure you're ready. Right, comes back in 3, 2. Oh, like, do you you want to come back now? Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the second quarter of round 6 at the Bond University QAFLW. Coorparoo Kings taking on the Southport Sharks, and so far unable to stop the power of the Sharks. They're leading 2-3-15 to Coorparoo's 0. And now it's an interesting one, Daniel, because possession time has felt, for the most part of that quarter, fairly even, but as we often see, Southport just able to capitalise on that a little bit more.
I think anyone involved with the Coorparoo club at the moment would say that the weakest of their 3 lines is the forward line at the moment. I don't mean to pick on the forwards, it's more the defence generally outstanding, the midfield generally outstanding. The forwards, there are some younger players, there are players playing up a grade today, lots of talent there, and just still working out how to gel, and it is a tricky craft. But you're right. I mean, first of all, Southport, let's pay tribute to them. Yet again, they have conceded nothing in a first quarter. I think it's the 3rd time that's happened this season, and we're up to round 6. Last week, they beat Maroochydore 101 points to 6, or possibly 102 to 6. But the one goal Maroochydore scored was in the first quarter. So they let their guard down there. Maroochydore have a feather in their cap. But no, Coorparoo, they know they can stay with Southport. They just haven't had the killer blow. But Southport, they've worked out that, we can score goals even if we don't have the territory domination. So they'll be pleased in a different way with that first quarter.
Well, the other thing they've kind of got to get past is Darcy Davis, who's in that fullback position at the moment. We've obviously previously seen her in, a forward line or in the ruck even, but she's actually transitioning to defence when she goes into the Suns program. I'm not sure if you've kind of spoken about it on air much, Dan, but it's a really, really special case for her because she was so good that the Suns actually, I think they got an exemption somehow to kind of draft her before she was actually in the draft age. So she's been able to go and join sister Giselle Davis over there. And then they've obviously got Georgia. Is it Georgia who's GWS?
No, it's Fleur who's at GWS.
Fleur who's GWS.
But no, Fleur made her, Georgia made her debut in the QAFLW in round 2. Just kicked 4 goals, if you don't mind. And then we haven't seen her since with academy duties. But I think it's one of those families, it's a bit like, showing my age here, but when the War brothers were coming into cricket, every time a new one came along, they'd say they were better than the last. And I think that's happening with the Davis sisters as well. Every time a new one comes along, oh no, this one's a really good one. Poor Giselle breaks the ground, and now it's like, you're the 4th best Davis.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it's always tough being the oldest.
Thank you.
Davis, she was a Queensland netball captain as well, only last year, I think it was. So imagine having that luxury as we get underway for the second term here at Giffen Park.
Southport running to the right of your screen as Pearce pushes it out. Past Schneider, usually a winger, but her pace is important in the middle of the field today. Feta Hugic did well. Schneider with a bit of a moon ball. Falls beside Fraser, and Bruard finds her way to the ball. How surprising. Mackie tried to evade the tackle. That was superb work from, I believe, McLaughlin it was.
We said it earlier, Dan, that the defence has been the strong point for Coorparoo, and didn't take them long to get involved, but this is the tricky part for them. What can their forward line do?
So Blue bounces over the top. Sexton was following through well. She's ranked up a few miles in the GPS today. Lamon wasn't able to get there before the paint intervened. 52 from goal. We try in the commentary to talk about the players who are here, not the players who are not, but Hannah and I had a little crying session before that Stacey Francis-Bayman's not here today to take on Lily Pearce, because that, I'm missing it, that didn't even happen.
That would have been an incredible matchup. Yeah, I was very, very sad to see her name on the out bench. Of course, an English Rose is netballer, so that in itself has a special place in my heart.
Sexton pushed it forward to Lamon, who took a strong mark. And I'm going to say this is on the edge of her range, so she will need her best kick, basically, to put Coorparoo on the board. Been to Lamon. Got a good piece of it. Well, we know she has the distance. Just off target. Coorparoo have a score.
It was a great kick, though, wasn't it? I mean, the distance. Don't often see that too much in the QAFLW, getting that length.
Played for Morningside in the QAFLW last year. And now Coorparoo looking to lock it inside 50. That was a good punch over the back. And I think Collins. No, that was Blue. Coorparoo repeat inside 50 entries. Over the back, just fell past Schneider. Young has kicked the wrong way.
I'm not sure why they kicked it that way, if that was a technical error or a bit of confusion.
No, that was Sally Young having a little moment there, I feel. And her teammates, I'm going to forgive her straight away, and I'm not going to mention it at all. I'm not going to mention again that Sally Young just kicked the wrong way. Beautiful dancing on the far side from O'Brien. Kicks it away to Oliver. But no, one of the most experienced players in Queensland women's footy history. Even the greats make mistakes. Edmonds battling hard on the bolts in the middle of the field. Was she pulled off it? She was, absolutely. Coaches juniors Charlotte Edmonds, and I actually rate her coaching ability highly. I can see her coaching at this level in the future. She'll swing it left, looks for Farrell. Lovely weighted kick. There's a free McLaughlin here on the wing.
Brilliant accuracy from Coorparoo right now. Can they keep it up? They can.
Oliver keeps it wide. This is a beautiful string of passing. Found Schneider on the left. Schneider had a long way to run. Puts it up to the hot spot. Bounces over everyone. Watts is first to the ball. It kept rolling away from her. And eventually 3 Sharks beat 1 King. Now they keep it hugging the boundary line. Blue dances around 1. Goes low. Tricky bounce. Lemon in space. Moonball. Schneider off target. Free kick to Southport. The pressure is sustained.
Yeah, big pressure there. A couple of opportunities that probably could have been taken.
I'm sorry for yelling over you before, Hannah. I got excited.
No, you're all good. It's interesting because just a few passages of play before that, we saw how accurate they were. So it was disappointing to kind of see that the pressure was what unravelled them a little bit there.
Southport's free kick in the back pocket, and that's why, now if Coorparoo lose today, they'll probably drop out of the 4. But it's that kind of skill which makes certainly me and probably most observers still see them as a final side. They just missed out last year when they lost to Southport in Pride Round, and they took them deep into the 4th quarter that day. Brouard working hard back to Ship. Ship just got in a little bit of trouble, but who was there to help? Georgia Brouard. She ran into trouble, and she'll be called for held. But to the extent that it was an error, a rare one from Brouard.
I'd certainly agree that they're in finals, that contention though, Dan. I think it'll be so difficult to know who's going to get that 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and even that 5th place. I mean, Wilson Grange having a much better season than last year. A couple of upsets to them already. And Bond probably not performing as well as we'd expect in all their games.
Holding the ball again, the tackling has been a feature of this game so far, and yet it's not been a stilted game. McLaughlin found Schneider, lovely step. Schneider, part of the Western Bulldogs side last year. Back to Farrell. Farrell with a barrel. Just off the fingers. Gaunt tried to shepherd for someone else, and the someone else never arrived. Pearce out to Mitchell. Here comes Southport. Mitchell fumbles at the crucial moment. That gives Coorparoo an opportunity to regroup. Otherwise, Southport would have been scoring their 3rd intercept goal of the game. Sorry, counter-attack goal of the game. Perry had a lot of work to do down back, and she's done it well. Daniel praises someone. They kick the ball away to Oliver. Oliver pumps it back inside. Off fingers. There's pushing in the contest. Free kick Southport.
Well, it's gone the way of Southport, but how many times has that ball gone into the hands of Taya Oliver?
More on her in a moment. Yeah, on cue, she's dropped
there
that one.
Again.
Before this game, equal leader for intercept marks in the competition. Speaking of intercept marks, that is tremendous from Darcy Davis at the back. And then a well-weighted kick to Mitchell, who did very well under pressure. In fact, that's Bailey. Apologies. In fact, it's Ingram. Just line up and I'll give you an apology. At the back, Davis wrestling hard. She's not all about the finesse. It's like a rugby scrum at the moment. I think Perry was trying to play halfback. Ball up 49 from the Coorparoo goal.
Yeah, but it's human behaviour.
Well, 13 minutes and a half to play now. And so far, Coorparoo leading this quarter. Only by 1 point, but it's something.
Well, for their dominance, they'd want 2 goals, really. Blue crashing through. 'Twas ever thus. Oliver through to Bolts. Apologies, Watt. Ingram, good work at the back. Gets it out wide to Lily Pearce. Was about to get low, saw the train coming the other direction. Goes to O'Brien, who's been looking for the ball. It hasn't been coming to her as much today. She's had to go in search of it. Mind you, she showed over the last 2 years that she's more than capable of doing that. Brouard to O'Brien. Looked to play on, did she? Umpire says yes, but she has time to play on. Lands in no woman's land. Oliver just reached for it as opposed to moving towards it. Falls to Ship. Ship goes wide, was just behind O'Brien. Caught it, changed direction, made that look easier than it was. Bruard ran into Young and McLaughlin and still got it away. That is skill. What?
Here's the clever play from Southport, though. It's that hand pass. Oh,
On the mark inside 50. That's a bit special from Taylor Gregory.
beautiful delivery there. And it was all set up by those handballs, wasn't it? The accuracy that they get from those.
And the little dummy from Taylor Gregory. I'm going to shoot. No, I'm not. I'm going to set up my good friend Hannah. Hannah Davies, the original sharpshooter of the Southport women's program. It's within range. The angle's not difficult. Came well off the boot. Didn't miss by a lot. Her second miss of the day.
A couple of misses now from Southport that you probably wouldn't expect. So we're all tied up now in this quarter for that score.
Mitchell's going to walk this in. She has, and for all Coorparoo's territorial dominance, it's Southport who gets the first goal of the second quarter. They have so many ways of hurting you, the Southport Sharks. Just, you can pin them down in their own half for 8-9 minutes. And it's like, oh, you're giving us one chance, have you? We'll take a goal and then you can try again. How's that sound?
Particularly to bounce back after the miss from Davies as well so quickly. Keep it in their own 50 and take advantage of it.
Moving forward again, Watt. Watt given an acre of space, looking to deliver it to Gregory. More surprising that she missed. On the ground, possession given away to Fraser. Fraser will hoof it out, but this is where Southport can hurt you as well because they put so much pressure on, often through Plooples. O'Brien deep inside, looking for Gregory again. Over the top, cleaned up by Henderson. 7-time premiership winner in this competition. No one you'd rather have at the back. Beautiful from Schneider to Federhugic. And Coorparoo have done something that a lot of teams haven't done against Southport in this situation. They've been able to repeat inside 50s from Southport. Collins, so good to see her back in this competition. Ran into trouble, no prior opportunity, ball up.
I didn't hear it or anything or crack.
Now when Rose Collins times one of her tackles, you can hear it. This last season with injury, it's a pleasure to see her back. Former Suns Academy member as Lamon pumps it forward. Over the top of Alder, who hits the deck. In fact, it was Gaunt. Sexton running through, dancing around Hunter. Hunter recovered well. Tackle just slipped below the legs, which is why the free kick will go to Coorparoo. Below the hips, I meant. Below the legs is slightly, yeah.
The ground, that would
Yeah,
be.
that's kind of what I meant. Inside 50. Lovely overhead mark by Chloe Gaunt. Now, difficult angle, but she showed in the last couple of weeks that her set shot is nearing elite. Chloe Gaunt, first year in the QAFLW. About 40 metres, maybe 45. The wrong side of the field for a right footer. That turned out to be too difficult, but I maintain my assessment of Chloe Gaunt.
Well, 8 minutes 40 to go here. And Coorparoo, if they want to stay in this contest, really have to get something on the board.
That's one way of doing it. Locking it in through Watts at right half forward. She looks for the shorter kick, lands in the arms of Crosby.
And Crosby's been great today. I mean, she hasn't had too much involvement for touches, but the ones she have generally been pretty accurate. Now, I've just talked to Alf, so we'll see if she can make this one happen or if we'll have another commentator's curse.
I feel she's about to make you look like a genius, Hannah Davies. Kelsey Crosby, a better angle than Gaunt's shot. Distance not an issue. Direction slightly. Inching closer, the Kings. Southport repelling in every way they know how.
They're getting a lot of possession on the wings, but what they're struggling to do is get it in front of the goal where they can give themselves an opportunity to be accurate.
In space was Maloof. She gave it out to Brouard. The counter-attack is on, well taken by Galt. Galt inside, that's a well-directed kick, well read by Federhugic. Bit of a tete-a-tete with Bolts, but she's won the mark, won the free kick. Not a good disposal from Federhugic. It's rolled through. Abby can do better than that. She knows that. I'm not going to criticise her, but how good was the intercept?
It was beautiful, but unfortunately just put it on the foot slightly wrong, and it not to be again.
It's getting ready to turn up the volume. And everybody within about 100 metres of me breathes a sigh of relief. As Coorparoo plays it out on the eastern side, around in front of the clubhouse. Darcy Davis. It is an aesthetic joy watching her take an overhead mark. In towards Brouard, who was left unattended. Coorparoo just not creating the pressure zones in defence at the moment, but the kick from Brouard is a bit slow. Oliver just ran underneath it. Peyton Mackey, first game at this level, has a set shot. Nothing wrong with the angle. Highly regarded junior. Did well to take the mark, just stabs it. Coorparoo looking to... That's an important tackle by Blue. And then around the body from Bolts. Bolts found a way. If they're near enough, they will find a way.
Second of the quarter now for Southport. Coorparoo still chasing their first major of the game though. Interesting bit of insight there from the Coorparoo team. Not sure if the audience could hear that over the mic, but you can hear the coach saying that, as I just mentioned the scoreboard, that it's not reflecting the game and how they're playing. And honestly, I would really agree with that. I think that their performance and defense in particular has been great. I think they're doing a really great effort actually to stop an even bigger attack from Southport, really.
Speaking with the Southport coaching staff beforehand, they were not taking this game lightly. They knew what Coorparoo brought to the table, and even now, they will be wrapped with the 4 points, and they deserve every bit of praise I'm going to give them for it. But knowing them, they'll walk away from this game going, yeah, could have so easily gone the other way. They're just like that. They're very humble and very hungry. As Gregory moved into the ruck, worked hard underneath. McLaughlin equally working hard. Just came off the hands of, I think, Schneider. She tries to work through. In fact, it was Fraser. Former Lions Academy member. Very talented, and I expect to see her for a long time in this competition. Robinson, O'Brien attacked it, came back to Bolts. They're just attacking the ball so hard at every contest. O'Brien inside 50 for the 500th time this season. Back to Davies. Davies fumbles, had good space given to her by Belunda, just a little bit of confusion which allowed Federhugic to get inside. Back to Mackey. Mackey brought down, O'Brien with the tackle at the next contest. And just turned the speed up past what the odometer can measure. But good work from Coorparoo to clear through Edmonds. Beats the contest, gets as far as Young. Young brought out by Ship. It did slip over the shoulder. The arm's gone out the wrong way, but that free kick is definitely for Young. Young looks for the 45 inside. Big part of Coorparoo's play under Rebecca Randuzzo was looking for those 45-degree kicks, just to change the angle of attack. Going centrally, lovely mark from Blue. Have I mentioned it's her 50th game? Not for 5 minutes. It's her 50th game today. Blue. Good deep inside 50 entry, that's beautiful. Chloe Gaunt with an easier set shot now than she had before.
We said earlier that this is what they've been missing, is this positioning to make the job as easy as it can be. You know, those hard angles in the wing are always difficult to kick. But there's a little bit of pressure now, isn't there, because she's got the angle.
I think the Coorparoo culture, though, means ignore the pressure. Just, you've got a ball, there's some posts in front of you, put one through the other. Chloe Gaunt. falls short, and Southport had the player in the position to be able to clean up the mess. O'Brien was the second. Gets it over to Watt. Lucky she fumbled, but Brouard was there to clean it up. The support play is just insane. Brouard, very quick use of the ball. Perry not quite able to hold on. Dances inside. So even now, they are technically in trouble, and yet they've had 8 disposals under pressure and end up with the ball up. And on the other side of the coin, Coorparoo's opportunity is not over. They regain the ball now. They go centrally. Gaunt just not getting the hands around that one. Putting pressure on Southport. It was Ingram to O'Brien. O'Brien through the middle. Goes in the gap between Oliver and her opponent. Mackie got the disposal away. That was a dump tackle. 2 players down. They're just... I think some players came in thinking that something was about to happen. In the end, well, we do have an injury, unfortunately.
I think that's Taya Oliver.
Yes.
And if it is, that is not good signs for the team. I mean, she's been incredible so far. She's definitely getting up very tenderly.
For intercept marks this year, before this game, Coorparoo had the top 2 in the competition tied. That was Taya Oliver and Bonnie Farrell, number 45. Since then, Oliver, you noted, has made a number of intercept marks today. Just seeing her, now obviously she needs attention, but just knowing Taya Oliver, I don't think this is the end of her day. I think she'll get patched up and she'll be back out there later.
Well, I certainly hope so, because we've said how Coorparoo's shining light has been their defence, and she's been a really big part of that.
Scuffed kick from Mackie to Brouard. Brouard plays wide to Mitchell. Brouard with the wraparound. She does that in her slip. Plays it forward to Ingram. Ingram looking for options. Coorparoo matching up fairly well, which means Ingram has to go wide. But then, of course, if you've got nice tall target like Taylor Gregory in the forward line, you just go, here, Taylor, have this.
Taylor Gregory, all their friends from Newcastle are watching on as we speak. Bit of a shout out to them.
So instead of going up with
Beautiful town, my kind of town. Taylor Gregory.
easy grab, we just
Tight angle for a right footer.
yeah.
But her set shot has improved immensely in 2023. Strong to cross the face.
It's always going to be a tricky angle, that one. Seeing Coorparoo also struggling to bend the ball. So 4 seconds remain. Don't imagine Coorparoo will be able to do much with this. And they won't. So that brings us to half-time here at Giffen Park. Coorparoo managed to get a couple of behinds on the scoreboard now, which is much better signs. And Southport getting 2 majors of their own to bring them 4-6-30 to 0-2-2 for Coorparoo. We'll be back after the break.
Hello everyone and welcome to Virtual Open Day live from Bond University.
I'm your host for today, Nick O'Hara-Boyd. I'm just as excited as all of you to be back home on campus.
We're taking you on a journey of epic proportions.
This is your opportunity to learn about all things Bond University. We'll be hearing from current Bond students as well as exceptional alumni living across the globe.
You ready? Let's go.
We had a mic down at Bondi a couple of weeks ago where it was just dead, so...
Okay. I've been trying to hear the stream on my phone, but it doesn't work. We're going to ask them if they can hear it.
We've got 15 minutes now, so this is the best time to work it out.
Girls are in the change room. Yeah, let's go this way. Let's do this way. Oh, Girls, what do we think?
They just went past and so...
Do you think maybe 1 too many hits? Yeah. And back yourself, girls, as well.
What I can say, just looking through your monitor of yourself and the one, but yeah, that's about the
framing.
Yeah,
Framing.
so, framing, that's the word. Yeah. Sorry, I do talkies, not sees. Sorry, is that a technical?
Yes.
I'm lost. Is it 30?
Yes, 4-6. Was it Ruby Mitchell who scored the 3rd goal? The one where she just sort of walked it in? Yeah, I'm going to say, I think it was Mitchell.
Who were the other two?
So in order, it was Gregory in the 9th minute, Baran in the 16th, Mitchell I think in the 29th, and Bolts in the 33rd.
Okay, so Gregory first, Breward.
Yep, that was in the first quarter, and then sorry, I apologise. In that you already had the first two, and then in the second quarter it was Ruby Mitchell and then Poppy Bolts.
Oh, by the way, what does Farrell in a barrel mean?
Okay. Her name is Bonnie Farrell.
Yep.
What you in Aussie rules, when you kick the ball, normally what you try to do is what's called a drop punt, where you get it to spin slowly backwards towards you. And what that does is it stabilises the ball in flight and means it will go dead straight.
Yeah, right.
To get greater distance, what you can do is kick it so that it spirals, sort of like if that's the ball that sort of goes long ways, it sort of spirals on its axis as it goes
Yeah.
along. Now in rugby league they call that a torpedo, but in Aussie rules they call it a barrel because it spins like a sort of, like a barrel with a.
Sometimes also get called.
Excuse me.
Exactly.
If I were to steal a footy, I'll return it after I kick.
A footy.
Yeah.
We actually don't have a footy up here. We're
No,
commenting.
it's one here. Can I steal it?
Oh well, it's not mine. We're not from Coorparoo.
Alright, I'll steal it.
If it's theft, then sure, go for it. You're right, it has crept in, but I suppose I'm trying to separate. Same as the number of times I said, fines touch. Sorry, it's a boundary. I mean, sometimes I do it as a joke, but yeah, so that's why, that just, like, I haven't said that loud. So, yeah.
I was like, he's been waiting to use it.
that just came, so.
No, yeah, you're saying a lot of like really interesting things. Like, I can see you love doing this. You do this for a living. Like, yeah.
Did I tell you, well, I haven't told you, but I was chatting to Chris after I did a game of netball last week,
Oh,
which
sure.
is why I couldn't do the footy. And I was just saying my co-commentator just didn't want to be there at all. Like, he was just so...
Wow.
It was really interesting because I obviously love netball, so I was really excited to go, and then I got there and he was just like, can't believe we have to do this, like we've got to do the Div 2 game, and it's so bad, and I'd just rather be at home. And I was like, yeah.
Okay, so you got, first of all, good on you for getting a netball game, because I know you got running. It sounds like you know Matt Weber. Yes, so I've never met Matt, but we're Facebook friends, and obviously like through the ABC we know each other, so we had a good chat. But yeah, when on Facebook I put up the same thing that I put up on Instagram about you and Sue and all the rest of it, and he saw that and just said Hannah's a really good operator. But he couldn't get into netball commentary either, and so for two, and not just one smoke here, talented people who come in, then
But I just said how like it's interesting because I feel like I might even end up liking food more simply because like everyone's more passionate here. Whereas it's so disappointing to commentate a game where someone's like, this is terrible. I'm like, you know what, it might be terrible, but just embrace it.
I'm now this is about commentary that involves cricket.
Yeah.
There's an Indian commentator who's very good named Harsha Bose, and one day in the commentary box he was talking about, oh yeah, it's a bit, just get uncomfortable up here, the air conditioning's not on. And then Ian Chappell, the former Australian captain, did a lot of commentary. Not so much I like commentary, and Ian took me outside and said, do you mind if I just give you a bit of feedback? And Harsha said, sure. And he said, if Kerry Taggart, who I'm sure if he'd heard you say that you're uncomfortable with commentary box, he would have been on the phone saying, I'll censor this. No one cares what you get. You're privileged. You get so. And so Harsha, like he didn't argue. He thought, yeah, you're right. And it's so.
Well, oh my god, it was a night, like not a night, but before the game, we had an absolute. Oh my god! So the camera operator, who barely spoke English, he put it live while when we were chatting, and so old mate beside me literally said, "Yeah, Thunder was shit last night," and you could hear it. So I had to do a panicked call. Luckily, because the news corp streamed it, so I knew the guy.
Community?
Yeah,
Sure,
so I knew the guy that runs it. I rang him up and said, "Can you please make sure to delete that?" And I'm just praying that no one tuned in until the game was due. So, and luckily I didn't, because I would never say it to him shit anyway. And I was like, "Oh my god, sorry, you got it on air that you think a team is shit." Like,
Damn.
you shouldn't even say it anywhere near a
Well,
microphone.
that's it.
It's
So,
the first thing.
let me just, sorry, this will sound like I'm paying. Once, I was always told, that just when I started community radio, once you go through the door, you don't swear. You know, so And that's not telling you what to do. I'm just saying that's
Well, but it wasn't even swearing. It was just more that he was banging at the top
that's
as
it.
well. Just don't do that. Because they'll hear that and go, oh, well, thanks. And then, it ruins you.
Well, there's two things. Firstly, I hope it gets cut out for everyone. Secondly, part of me hopes it doesn't get cut out so that he's accountable for what it is.
Well, I don't know. I haven't checked if they've cut it.
You always talk shit here because we think the mic's off right now. For anyone enjoying the little chat at half-time here, it's
keep glancing at it just to make sure.
My name's Brian Taylor, with me is Kelly Underwood, and on camera here is Vladimir Putin. So let's say Boris Johnson, couldn't remember his name. Vladimir Putin. So if you hate this sort of chat we're having here now, you probably hate us already. So it's
Apparently we sound good.
pleased.
So it sounds like a
and you're doing the kind of what I mean. So one thing I was thinking of doing for UNC was just having a little chat because I did this for some guest commentators things to do as a special commentator. One of them, I don't do it now, but things like keeping tallies of inside 50s. Just every time the ball passes the 50-metre line, tally. And then that way you've got that to talk about. Once you master that, then things like intercept marks, every time sort of someone calls a turn, just a little tap. And you can say then that Southport turned the ball over 12 times. So, go for it.
You know how when someone lines up for a shot inside the 50 and the commentator's like, you say something like, they're going to take it from that 40.
Okay. First of all, the line is, the 50-metre line is there. Secondly, there's always the player on the mark, and then you add a few. So
where the player on the mark is you might say, well, that's about 30 metres.
Yep.
So it's probably about 35.
Correct. And it's guesswork. And in one sense, it depends. Actually, I'm just going to, this is a genuine question. What I've seen, different camera operators do it differently, but sometimes for set shots, like the player takes the mark, they'll stay on them for a bit, and then they'll zoom out so you can see the shot go in. Is that, but I've seen other people do it other way. What are you doing in that situation?
When I see them lining up for a shot, I zoom in like slowly because sometimes they change their mind and kick someone else. So I slowly zoom in until they stop, and then I try to fill not the entire frame mostly, and then as they begin to walk out, I slowly zoom out, and then as they jog, I then try and get the ball in the middle and stuff.
Terrific. The reason I asked that, we still don't know. So the umpires aren't even on the field yet. So the reason I asked that is that it's probably more of a radio thing where on the TV, if he's shooting, they can see where there's some things that I do, which I did because I got frustrated on the big and vice versa. I do because I get frustrated when they do. I haven't picked up on that, but I'm going to now because it's a habit. I can see myself doing it today. True, and also whether sometimes people on private, the 50 meters is so bright you can see it, whereas today it's a little bit.
I think it's more about the cause and effect. Like if you mention it, it can feel like it's okay. Like as in, it's from 50 meters out, it's really difficult.
Good point.
Just it's 50.
Sort of say it as a factor, not as a fact.
Yes.
That makes sense. Cool. Is that the way I sort of
Yes.
mental? Yeah, and it's true because it rhymes. So
He was just telling me that the Atmos mic is picking up the conversation.
there we go. Yeah,
Not perfectly, but
and that's normal, which is what. So, so did he hear the bit where I was welcoming all the people to?
Probably.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, we can listen back to that on YouTube. So. Yeah, just soothe everyone's.
Comes ready in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the second half here. The Coorparoo Kings taking on the Southport Sharks, top of the table versus fourth. It is, of course, in case you missed the start of the broadcast, Sir Doug Nicholls round, which is a really important round for our competition and, of course, for AFL across the country. It is Sir Doug Nicholls round in the AFL as well, so probably all be tuning in a little bit later to the Lions-Suns clash as well. But back to this one, Bond University QAFLW. Massive clash right now. And Southport got a couple more majors on the scoreboard in that second term. Coorparoo getting 2 behinds. But, Dan, they've just struggled with the accuracy a little bit.
Look, they have, and I don't think they'll be too worried about that Southport because their normal modus operandi, if you like, this year has been, we know that we're going to be a little bit inaccurate, but we just give ourselves so many forward 50 opportunities that eventually just weight of numbers will tell. In fact, in the first 5 rounds of this year, now, a top of the table side is normally expected to have dominance with inside 50 entries. So far this year, the first 5 rounds, Southport has entered inside 50 273 times. They have conceded an inside 50 entry 74 times. That is plus 199. Against Wollstonegrange, it was 52 to 3. Last week against Marichamp, it was 74 to 5. So, of course, Southport would like to improve their accuracy, but really, as long as they're dominating inside 50s, they won't worry. But the thing is today, and we don't have live stats here, I don't think they are dominating inside 50s. It's Coorparoo who's had the weight of possession, and their forward line right now, it's not ticking. It's round 6. There are 14 rounds, and then there are finals. I don't know if Coorparoo's going to win tonight, but I do know that this game is worth watching because we're going to see them improve through the game and then through the year.
And obviously, you know, a lot of weeks in this competition, there's a lot of ins and outs, and so it's kind of hard to gauge where a team is at until you honestly reach finals because there's so many, you know, those young guns going to academy, and then our older players have got shocking lives, so their personal lives, and they've got to be, you know, visiting families from... Sorry, there's a little bit of commotion happening in the commentary box.
Yeah, it's should we shame Becca and Dutto on air? No, I don't think. I mean, telling people that Becca and Dutto was just trying to throw us off our game is probably really unprofessional. So yeah, we won't mention it. That's fine.
The one who should be trying to throw off the game, Southport.
Oh, great segue. That is segue of the year territory there from Hannah Davies. Brilliant call.
Thank you.
But no, I think what you were trying to say there was just with those inside 50 entries. But yeah, Coorparoo, the conversion rate is interesting, but for Coorparoo, it's a case of getting the shot in the first place.
Yeah, I think they've managed to find a lot of opportunities on the wings and kind of in those awkward spots, which makes sense because, you know, Southport's defence are making it very hard to get a good spot on goal.
28 points, not insurmountable, not even against the great 2023 Southport Siders. It was Watt to O'Brien. O'Brien directly inside 50. Oliver ran underneath it. It fell back to Fraser. Fraser's handball was partly smothered by Mitchell. Heads out towards the wings. Sexton's onto it. Pluples is onto it. We're going to have a boundary throw in, and I'm going to breathe.
Interesting to see, Dan. I'm not sure if you can tell already whether Taya Oliver is going to come back on. I know you said before that you thought we'd probably see her again.
Just looking in the back line for her. I'll keep up with play as it will come back. It was just not the most friendly pass to Coorparoo, and because of the pressure on them on the ground, Southport will have a chance to enter 50. So I can't see her at the moment. The bench is just below us. If there's 4 there, then she's probably not back. If there's 5 there, then she'll be somewhere. But Steph O'Brien with the free kick. Fair way from goal. Looks for the short pass. Well read by Edmonds. Saw that coming a mile away. They're able to push it wide. That's Oliver there. Back to O'Brien in the middle. The slick hands from Southport. O'Brien crashes through. Not able to be held onto, but plays the 1-2. Kick, important smother. Possibly Robinson. Back to Schneider. Schneider's able to clear. Perry will get there first. Spins away from her. Opportunity for Gaunt. Couldn't pick it up in space. Has Lamon to her right. Tries to fend on Perry. Gets the kick away. He was heading towards Watts. Ends up with Plooples. Plooples has a lot of support. Watts got her. Jess Watts, take a bow. They've turned around an inside 50 entry from Southport without them getting a shot on goal. Lamon read that well, saw where Pearce was handballing, got it to Crosby. Crosby tried to fend off, didn't really work, and she will be pinged, and rightly so. Free kick, Lee Alder. This is the first match between these two teams on this ground, because last year Coorparoo's home game against Southport was part of Pride Rounds. That was played over at Yeronga. The Ship drops it. Laura Blue, 50th game. Bumped heavily by Hannah Davies. One thing I like about Bluey is she can hit hard herself, so when she cops a hit, she just goes fair enough and gets on with it.
Very, very strong player, isn't she?
Oh. Good work by Robinson. That'll be another boundary throw in as caught the heel of Robinson's hand. Good volleyball spike. Not as effective in this game. Young directing traffic behind the game. She's been doing that for a fair spread of years. Everyone's on the far side of the contest. So Pearce went to go back, was looking for O'Brien, and she was on the way in. Lamon putting her under pressure, not enough. O'Brien got out of jail. What? O'Brien. Pearce.
Just such a clever play there from Southport, and that connection between each other, particularly within a close distance, is just so great to watch.
Bolts extracted, got out of trouble. That was important from Edmonds. She's done a couple of very good things to open the second half. Back to O'Brien. O'Brien goes wide. Mitchell, I think, broke away from her opponent. Sorry, Maloof, apologies. Maloof. Maloof in towards the hot spot, was looking for Bolts. Taken by Farrell. She's able to pump it out. Gets back towards the 50. Ship, smothered. One thing Coorparoo have not done is drop their pace. Young. Footy IQ in the thousands. The kick from Schneider has just gone 15. That was 15 metres and 1 centimetre, I feel, as Brouard has it. Brouard goes deep, looking for the contest. Dropped by Bolts, not by much. Players around the ball, cleared by Fraser. To Ship. Ship will have a shot. Calls of back yourself from her teammates, and I have absolutely no influence whatsoever, but I agree.
You can mill around. Let's say it's our set shot. You can mill around.
Rihanna Ship.
If you see it's
Not a prolific goal scorer, more of a turnover expert.
like that, you just come straight at it.
Touched before the line. The accuracy was good enough. Rihanna Ship's having an outstanding year, and according to players and coaches within the club, she's their third best winger behind Plooples and Ingram. That's not a bad player to have as your third best winger.
It's certainly not at all. I mean, they're spoilt for choice, aren't they?
Sexton plays across field. If she really wanted to, she could play top grade every week, but playing QAFLW is as much a lifestyle choice as it is a grey. Lamon chasing her own kick through, looking for Perry. That's beautiful work from Lamon. Perry was able to dispose, not called ball, and rightly so. Lamon beats a lot of traffic, kicks it down the throat of Lily Pearce. Intercepted. Good work up forward from Brighton on debut. Ruby Series netballer for Darling Downs Panthers, but it's all cleared now. Oh, mark from Sally Young taken by Darcy Davis. The master and the apprentice. Watts outside 50. Perry, that was important. Had Crosby behind her and maybe should have attacked it. But Tamsin Perry, absolutely brave.
She's been great today. She's just picking up anything that goes slightly astray for Coorparoo.
Fairs. We saw a bit of her pace there. Gets it out wide to Crosby. Got her in the kneecap, which is not really the best place to kick from. Boundary throwing.
And that's where Southport are winning at the moment, is just getting first to the ball and having the speed to follow it up. Coorparoo, unfortunately, just having to rely on excellent accuracy to get the ball to their players because they're probably just, unfortunately, not as fast as Southport.
Probably a couple of times they've just kicked it somewhere forward as opposed to someone forward. We talk about lowering the eyes in footy, which is basically looking down and seeing who's there rather than just hoofing it. Strong work from Ingram. She may have reefed that, not quite, but she will cause a ball up as Coorparoo are, let's say, 35 from goal. Good work by Robinson in the contest. She's been good today against one of the best rucks we've ever seen in the Bond University QAFLW in Lily Pearce. Hannah McLaughlin, her role today was to make sure that the Southport midfield couldn't just run amok, and she's done that. They've got away at times, but not anywhere near as much as they used to. Watt around the back, spearing pass, straight onto the chest of Mitchell. Mitchell was under pressure, was able to dispose in time. Watt chasing through, clash of bodies. Ball up. 42 tough players in this match, I'm telling you. Pearce prepared to do her own rucking. O'Brien, the two tallest players in that contest, were the two prepared to get down.
Just have a look from the distance at the height that Pearce gets when she goes into the air. And that's why she's winning that hit out so often.
It's not just that she's tall. I mean, yeah, she's 6'2" or whatever she is, but her vertical leap.
It's just great.
She's
and
an
the
athlete.
timing as well is what it's all about, really.
I'm glad I shut up and let you speak there, because that's a very important point. Yes, middle-aged man shuts up to let women speak. It happens. Through the contest, Gaunt, using her body well, wasn't able to get the contest straight away. Was that in the back? Not according to the umpires. Davis runs around Fairs, couldn't get onto Blue. Blue put good pressure on. Cleared by Schneider. She's worked hard in the middle as well.
Crowds don't like that.
Alder got one over the shoulder. Perry just... Alder. Yeah, Perry didn't need to do that. She's playing brilliantly as it is. Hunter found herself in space. Coorparoo won't worry that they've gone wide. Pushing them wider. Ingram. Fairs got there late. And I think the knockover was simply because she was running at speed. Told to play on. Fairs putting pressure on. Wobbly kick. Oliver tried to go over the back of Mackie. I think Mackie copped a stray hand.
I think
Another
it was an
wobbly kick.
accidental falcon there, unfortunately.
I think many deliberate falcons in this sport, but okay, Robinson played it left, found, I think it was McLaughlin, deep inside 50. The mark is dropped. If they can start clunking those, Coorparoo's attack is going to be a lot more dangerous.
You're right, it was beautiful placement, but unfortunately Coorparoo just can't get the elevation time just right. Probably missing just a bigger body and a bit taller forward.
Brought to ground was Gaunt. Kicked off the ground, socket, minus score. So they've turned it into something. There's one player's down for Coorparoo. That might be Chloe Gaunt, who at this stage, very young. She's got the height. At this stage, she doesn't have the muscle mass, which that'll come with age. Trust me. Hunter running towards the southeastern corner. Big women fly. Southport, the counter-attack is on. Kept in front by Plooples. Wasn't able to gather and still did well. Kicked it away on the wing. Fraser wasn't able to connect. Comes to Belinda. Belinda has space. Finds Bolts. Bolts dances around four people. That's...
Just the way she's moving backwards as well to find space is something you don't see too often, but it's so clever. All her opponents running in the opposite direction, so she says, well, I'm going to run behind them.
And now she's at the next contest as well. Goes with the outside of the boot. Finds Ingram. Ingram walks in. The Southport counter-attack is in fine, fine working order.
Poppy Bolts in that play, just, I'm going to bring back to it because it was just incredible to watch, you know, watching the speed that Coorparoo were running at and just going backwards. I mean, you don't see it often at all. You'd think she'd go straight forward, but it was just clever.
The only thing I'd say about that is she was probably getting close to a full 15 metres, and there were a few calls, which always happens when the other team is the one who's running, where she may have run too far. But I don't disagree with a thing you're saying, where wherever the space is, that's where I'll go, and I'll back myself to be able to make it up with my strong kick.
It was really clever, and I think that feeding ability almost has been where Southport have been great. You know, they've got those key figures like a Bolts or an O'Brien who have that ability to find their forwards.
I don't know if it'll be this year, but maybe in 2024. I want to see Poppy Bolts and Ellie Hampson destroying opposition midfields in the AFLW. Courtney Alder working hard against Lee Alder, throws Lee out of the way. Alder from a long way out. She's got to be on this. Courtney Alder, that's magnificent.
A big celebration here from the Kings. That's their first major of the night. And it was a very physical effort there, wasn't it? Threw her player aside. Get out of my way.
This is her, she's been in reserve grade for about 3 years, Courtney Alder. This is her third or fourth game in the top grade. Her first game here against Yeronga, I think she kicked 4 behinds for the night. Just nothing would go right for her. Last week, she finally got her first goal very late in the game against Wilston Grange, just to sock her off the ground. But that is a personal highlight reel.
And that physicality has probably been missing in the forward line for Coorparoo a little bit so far this evening. They've had it in defence, but just translating it to their forwards is where we haven't seen it as much, but that's a really good sign there from them. It should give them a lot of confidence.
Working through is the Australian word for whoops. Just made it to the microphone. Apologies for anyone not worried about that. As Brighton has the ball stripped from her. The last 20 seconds or so from Southport has been strong. They wanted a quick response to that goal, as I think it's Blue who hacks it out. Coming out back to Alder. Immediately tackled. The pace of this game has lifted. Watts. Brought down by Bailey. Another one new to this level, but my goodness, she belongs. Kayla Sky Bailey. Brilliant tackle on the experienced Jess Watts. You were talking about the lift that goal might have given Coorparoo, and I think you're right. I think it's also put a little bit of a sting into Southport. Blue, I love watching that. 50 games worth of thump. And intelligent play well, but mostly thump. Hunter saw Ingram on lonesome. The goal scorer marks a long way back. That's intelligent. Just a nice, safe kick to Brouard. Move it forward, create options.
And Davies, she made that space so early. That was just, she knew exactly where she was going about 10 seconds before she did it. And again, we spoke about the speed from Southport, that they've got the patience to wait until the timing is perfect.
As Alder goes for another thump, Lee Alder is chasing with Crosby. Lee Alder gets there first, and she'll be able to play it wide. Good foot speed. Goes out to Ship. She does well to race around an opponent. Has a bounce. It works. Didn't mean to sound quite that surprised. It was a little bit rude. Fraser working backwards. Has Bolts and Belander on her. Good work from Oliver. Spilled free. Inside from Mackie. And the turnover again. 2 turnovers in the space of a second. As Taylor Gregory got involved. Working hard on Hannah Sexton. Taylor Gregory again. Second effort. No one on either side is shirking their task today, and we, the viewers, are blessed by it.
Just under 5 minutes to play here in the third term. But what that goal has done for Coorparoo is pretty immeasurable.
Has Gaunt put a lot of pressure there on Hunter. It's able to stay in. That's beautiful work at the back. Comes back to Hunter. Bailey before. And Hunter is able to keep it in. Had she got a full bit of boot on that, it wouldn't have, well, it would have been a free kick to the opposition, but it fell to Ship. Ship outside 50. Lovely from O'Brien.
Such reliable hands she has on the ball.
It's the advantage of being an elite netballer before you became an elite Aussie rules player. The kick was awful, the recovery was great.
You mentioned netball there, Dan. I think that's why she plays that feeding position so well. I mean, she's a wing attacker netball, so that's her complete job there. And that's translated brilliantly into this game. You know, she doesn't hit the scoreboard that often, but the amount of setups that she contributes to is what makes this side so strong.
We've had a lot of netballers come across to the QAFLW as Southport win a free kick on the right wing. There's a fair case to say Steph O'Brien's been the best of them.
And that's tough because Darcy Davis is on the field now too.
I think Steph O'Brien's been the best of them. Darcy will get there. Lucy Schneider, up from Victoria this year. Very glad to have her. That's a strong mark under pressure. Courtney Alder has got the bit between the teeth. And if she can win this game on her own, she wants to. There's some good long kickers on this side. Looks for Sally Young. Just went over her head. Had Bailey behind her. Young got it on the ground. Pluple's underneath. The tackle is strong. It was just below the shoulders. There'll be a ball up 40 from goal.
It's just watching what was happening off ball. Big contest and a lot of hands flying between Pluples and one of her opponents.
See, Robinson, when she's up against Gregory in the ruck, as distinct from Pearce, she goes a lot harder at it. That one was monumentally thumped. Coorparoo now in a bit of, well, they ran out of space on the wing, but they're going to get the turnover through Sexton. That's a train, not a hooter. Still 2.5 minutes left in this quarter. Floaty kick inside. Punched away from, I think, Brouard. Put back inside. It's going to be, oh, O'Brien was balletic, but ineffective. Southport again causing the turnover. And they're doing enough, and then find Bolts. Bolts usually tries to counter from here. Uses their speed to get away from Sexton. Goes sideways looking for O'Brien. Well picked off by McLaughlin. Then McLaughlin was cleverly pulled off. It allowed Bolts to get back inside. Good work by Feta Hugic playing high. She's done well tonight for the most part. Good work from Brighton. Was able to get it forward. Just goes over the head of Robinson. Robinson tries to push everyone within a metre of her out of the way. Clear my space. This is my space. You're not having it. As unfortunately, Chloe Gaunt is being helped off the field in front of us. Went down in an earlier contest. And hopefully she's okay, because she's looking in worse shape than Taylor Oliver was before, unfortunately. Southport have the ball about 40 from their own goal. Read by Feta Hugic. Clever in front of Bolts. Bolts then breaks a couple of tackles. Put enough pressure on the disposal. Taylor worked well in there. Watts brings the ground. Oh, yeah, dangerous tackle, unfortunately. It wasn't deliberate, but because the player's head was down, it was always going to hit first.
Probably would have liked to see a bit of a shepherd there from Southport to help out the player and the ball. Probably contribute a little bit to that tackle. Just forcing the one-on-one.
A rare lapse in their support play. They've got it back now, though, although Schneider's been able to pick the pocket. Feta Hugic, not her cleanest kick, but it'll go to a good contest. Just through the fingers of Robinson. Brouard. It's been working a lot of, oh, lovely step from Davis. Tried to get away from Watts, eventually did. Kicked away to Schneider. Schneider looking for a target up forward. Goes slightly wide. Alder was being held back legitimately. Came out to Crosby. Tries to go around the body. And it would have taken probably someone with the elasticity of Gumby to keep that inside. Ask your grandparents.
Well, under 10 seconds now. Before we head into the final term. What a beautiful attempt that was.
Wasn't able to get through was Blue. Run out of play. And it's a boundary throw and not a free kick, so that is three-quarter time.
Well, we head into the final break. Coorparoo finally hit the scoreboard with a major 1-3-9 to Southport's 5-7-37. Well, it's not impossible, but it'll be a very determined effort from the Kings in the final term. We'll be back for that after the break.
soon as I said it, because after Becca's took the mess.
Oh my god, yeah, that actually threw me off.
Well, what I said was, oh, hello, Emily Robinson's been on this as well. So, and she had a great quarter. She's in good. Oliver looks okay, but was in good. And Paul Gaunt looks injured. So, could be a big chance. But yeah, what I said was, I think what you're trying to say is, and then I realised that I can't remember what you were trying to say, so I made something up, and I know it was wrong. It wasn't what you said, but I was trying to show it. I kind of got the tangle. So.
Okay, I kind of agree. But you don't always want to throw back. Sometimes if you throw back, it's just lingered on it for too long.
Can do. So.
I kind of think make a point, and then move on. You know?
Oh, true. It was more. I think it was a way of. She did all this. I was having a lot of fun, and then I was trying to work out what was going on. We have so much to play.
We were talking about how there's been a lot of changes to the squads with the new counts, with the academy and the older players.
And I came back with a totally different.
Yeah, what's your point? This is I was like.
I should have just ended up and said where were we? So.
No, but I wouldn't remember either.
Thank you for dealing with it, because I did throw a bit of a hospital pass. I'm so going to clip that out and go, can you guess what was going on here? Do you want to stop until you know the reaction, basically?
Who was the goal scorer?
Sure, so
Sorry,
for...
I was
No, it's fine. So Courtney Alder for Coorparoo, and before... No. That's right, Sarah Ingram for Southport, and then a year Courtney Alder, I never met her at my son's club. She does some girls coaching there. And so I've been Facebook friends with her for years. I've only spoke with her today. And our time so peaceful. If I get one today, it'll be a celebration.
It was.
So,
like a rough idea.
Oh, no, I know.
that is an excellent question.
No,
You're correct.
It might affect the camera that was going to be thinking. So, turning this light on here.
That's outside.
Yeah, let's try again.
Okay. That's good.
Are you okay with that being on?
Yeah.
Or the reflection actually?
That's why we don't turn it on.
Yeah, let's get rid of it. I don't want to look at myself for 30 minutes.
Is that clear?
Hearing myself is enough.
Now you see, I have to resist the temptation there to go, no, honey, you look great, because it just sounds creepy coming from me. So, that's fine.
Oh yeah.
No, that's an excellent question. So, I'm trying to work out she has done a lot. That's fine. Feta Huggets has done a lot of good work for Coorparoo and screening it over. For Southport, I think probably that's the one who, and to be honest, sometimes I choose the obvious case. But that's actually, because the game's not in the balance, that's something we can discuss on air, sort of, and stop it. Body bolts. Sure. The word follow is correct, but it's actually on the word inside.
Yeah, I didn't even know until last night.
It's all fine. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Bond University QAFLW final term. About to be underway here for round 6. It is Sir Doug Nicholls' round. A really great round, very important to our competition. Of course, celebrates the contribution that First Nations people have made on this competition. And there's incredible athletes across both competitions, the QAFL and QAFLW. And of course, this game right now, Coorparoo had a little bit of a comeback in that third quarter, so it brings the score now 139 to Southport 5-7-37. Southport, of course, maintaining that lead.
So moving into the ruck is Kaylee Brighton. We saw Emily Robinson come off, possibly injured at the end of that third term. Also Chloe Gaunt. Taya Oliver's back out there as Maloof does some good work in the contest. Pierce kicks it away to... Just the question... Sorry, I got a little bit distracted because the question was being asked about contact after the contest. As it comes through to Perry. Young working hard on the ground. Very strong, very intelligent in the game is Sally Young. Beautiful work from Drouard. Got it out to Mitchell. Mitchell's been playing forward most of the year. Further back today, she's been excellent. Gregory juggles with herself. Play allowed to go on. There were
Nearly looked like a throw.
There were hints of that
herself.
as Mitchell on the boot. Sorry for talking over you. That's lovely work at the back from Coorparoo. Continue.
No, all good. I was just saying it nearly looked like a throw to herself a little bit. But I guess play on.
Yeah, normally if you do that in a tackle, I've seen umpires call it, but I've got no issue with the way they call it here. As Darcy Davis takes another mark just for fun. She goes back inside 50. On the fly was Mackie, extracted by Feta Huggett. She's been mighty today. Kicked it out to Alder a long way back. Gets to Lamon. Lamon with not a lot in front of her. Was trying to hold it up. Got it back to Alder. Up to the one-on-one contest. Henderson playing in the front. As Hunter battles with Watts. Watts underneath Hunter. Hunter did extremely well. She's in today for Selena Priest, who's unavailable. It's only, I think, her third or fourth QAFLW game. And she's one wonderful backup for the Sharks to have.
Well, they've got a lot of depth in their squad this year. I mean, most years, but in particular this year, don't they?
Oh, they are a force to be reckoned with in the Bond University QAFLW. But, and I'm only saying this because they say it, they haven't won anything yet. They've won 2 QFAW titles, but this is the one they want. And as yet, they're working towards it. They're favourites, but they don't have it. Bailey, out towards Drouard. Drouard's been insane today. Racking up possessions, kicks it away on that occasion. Gregory working hard. She probably won't get too many umpires votes this year, Taylor Gregory, but she's a good chance for things like Team of the Year or possibly Impact Player of the Round one of these weeks. She's been incredible this year in 2023. Clearance eventually falls the way of Coorparoo, but it goes to Ingram. Clever pass back to Bailey. Bailey, that was interesting and penalised. But you've got to admire the effort from Hannah Sexton. So Bailey looking for options, keeps it wide. Just kicked to a contest, falls loose. Lovely work underneath from Feta Huggett. In terms of specialist centre halfbacks, in the Bond University QAFLW, Feta Huggett may have rocketed to number 1 this year. I'm just racking my brain for the ones from the other clubs. But in terms of just owning the middle of defence, the improvement in her this year has been amazing. The Southport were able to find a way out of the contest through Ingram. Lovely from Gregory. Right on cue. She's able to thump it forward. She's got Mitchell up ahead. Mitchell cleverly pushed out of the way by Edmonds and crashed into behind post, which means out of bounds.
Oh, wouldn't that have been good if it had bounced in, though? Great take by Gregory. You mentioned her before, but she's such a great target for Southport. Both tall but strong physically and a great footy sense.
Now one of the big improvers, as she gets to the ball now, just over the back. It fell in front, goal side, poked through. And some off-the-ball work means that Coorparoo will have a chance to clear under no pressure initially. Good catch and run from Farrell. Farrell was looking for Lamon, got to her on the half volley, worked hard on the ground, and then Bailey was pulled off it. All the way back, and it will go to Feta Huggett again. Racking up those intercept marks and marks inside defensive 50. Alder over the back. That was a beautiful mark from Courtney Alder. And her confidence has doubled. I'm not sure what the unit of measurement for confidence is, but Courtney Alder, her cup is full at the moment. Possible push in the back, certainly a nudge in the back. And then falls to Blue, who looks like she's in pain and still going. That'll be blown up. It looks like she hit the ground hard, was nursing her arm. In fact, and she still got a possession on the ground while she was nursing her arm. Possibly trying to come off the field, possibly saying, no, I'm good, leave me out here. Hunter from Federhuggage goes sideways, beats the tackle of Bruard just. Was looking for Sexton, fell to Pierce. Good pickpocketing from Brighton. Young around the corner on her non-preferred foot. Lamon a long way out. Lamon with a thump over the head of Alder. That's wonderful from Darcy Davis. And then pumped out by Lee Alder, finds Bailey.
Darcy Davis, just another one that's a huge threat in the air. When that ball goes high, that is what she likes to see.
As O'Brien. Bolts took over from her in the third quarter, but certainly probably in the second quarter, O'Brien was the dominant player on the field. Which makes 3-2-1s difficult because we're trying to judge the match overall.
Very difficult indeed.
Oh, that got back in the chin for Fraser. She's okay. Lily Pearce finds Galt. She's had a good debut. Put away to Fraser. Fraser's been excellent at the back. Just turns away from Sexton. Ship brought down. It was around the shoulders. Umpire was in a very good position. Made a very good judgment. Blue finds Henderson. Addie Henderson. That's a thump. Addie Henderson. Is this going to go the journey? Somehow it didn't go through. Lamon was there. Credit has to go to Hunter. Back to Courtney Alder. Round the body. Good goalkeeping. Kyala Sky Bailey on the defensive line, now playing out the left through Ingram. It's been a high-quality match.
Well, it was a great defensive effort from Southport. Coorparoo again giving themselves a near opportunity, but just not able to capitalise on it. Unfortunately, that's been the theme for them, getting a lot of possession and near opportunities, but you know, we said earlier that they've had a lot of outs this week, so perhaps not their strongest side, but they're certainly still one to watch for finals.
Ingram has the ball on the left. She's brought down. They just missed the umpire's signal, unfortunately, so it was the free kick to Coorparoo as expected. Good attack on the ball from Gregory, just got there a bit late. So the mark was taken well under pressure. Humped inside 50 for Coorparoo. Was looking for Lamon. O'Brien got there first. Henderson trying to support Lamon. In the end, the two Sharks around her, or at least one too many. Boundary throwing. Fraser and Schneider come from the field. They made their break. Not contesting, it was O'Brien who got there herself and then nearly gave it away. In towards centre half forward. Into a lot of space. The foot race is on, won by Blue. Blue towards the boundary, just overran it as the ball spun beneath her. To her feet quickly, then back down again to contest it. I think it's Ship in there as well. It was Ship. To compete with Laura Blue, doing what Laura Blue does. If I sound like I'm fanboying this whole game, that's probably because I am.
Oh, we both are, Dan. I mean, you know, it is her 50th as well. Last year's best and fairest at the club. Just seems to get better and better each year.
I think my favourite skill of Blues as the ball heads over the boundary line is I was getting used to her kicking. I mean, at her peak, 60-metre kicks with her right foot. Then one day I saw her go 45 with her left, and I thought, you freak. In a good way, in a good way.
In the best of two meetings.
Gregory did well in the ruck contest, technically lost out, but Southport may regain possession. Tense battles on the ground, no one really with an advantage at this point, although Southport pushing forward in metre increments. Ship forward, was looking for Mackie, felt the interception from Federhuggage. And everything I said about her before, absolutely true, as Hunter in a little bit of trouble, but was able to turn it round to Baldwin. Federhuggage again, steaming through the back. We don't have live stats in this competition, but if you go to the AFLQ website, maybe tomorrow or the next day, as Schneider went sideways for that, Farrell, the stats from this game will be up there, compiled by iSports. Just caught outside the 50 at the moment. And neither side really able to kick the ball away from a contest. Shout out for umpires again, who I think have controlled this game very well. Let it flow, but intervene when necessary. As Sexton's kick was smothered, it'll be out for another boundary throw in as the game's getting bogged down, but it's by effort, not by lack of effort.
Yeah, look, it's been a really high-quality game tonight, and I think, you know, even though Southport are leading, I think they've had to really work hard for it. Like, it has not been a walkover whatsoever. And it's games like this that are really good, even for teams that are winning heaps of games, because this kind of contest is what makes them so good.
Well, their defence hasn't really had a workout this year, and while there's a long time to go, of course, what Southport didn't want was to waltz into the finals without the defence being tested, and then they get tested and they're not ready. So tonight's been a good workout for them as Coorparoo knock it forward. Was looking for Lamon. Lamon got into a little bit of space and then was tackled. Ship was in there. Maddie Watt with a second effort. She made the first tackle and the second. And that is why she is one of the most valued players in this competition, Maddie Watt. Part of this incredible inside midfield collective, which doesn't even have Carly Ramos tonight, but the ones who are here, Bruard, O'Brien, Watts, Bolts, salivating. Beautiful run out of defence from Bolts. Inside, that was Hunter. Got it to the contest. Stays in the contest because every kick is under pressure. Gregory hacked it out. Watt will chase hard. Watt spins out of the tackle. Gets it through to Mackie. Mackie recovers well. Good run by Belunda. Belunda runs a 15. Edmonds had it plucked out from Galt. Galt working hard. It's a 2-on-2. Galt went for a bit of a fly over the top. Hope that was fun. Comes to a grinding halt on the 50.
It was good work by Coorparoo to bring it to the ground there, because when Southport get on the run, that's when they're really difficult to stop. So that they did well to take advantage of just the tiniest of fumbles there from, I think it was Davies, just couldn't quite grab that ball and go, because when she does, well, that's when you're in danger.
As the ball is kicked away, and this is a bit more typical of the previous 5 rounds for Southport. Abby Plupel's on one wing, and then Rihanna Ship and Sarah Ingram on the other. You try to clear it wide to keep away from the inside mids, and they will pick you off. Taya Oliver attacked it hard, missed. Ruby Mitchell over the back. That was a better mark than it looked. I was watching Oliver and missed that Mitchell, who's currently holding her nose, was being very, very brave and skillful.
Well, she kicked her first goal of the night in the second term. Maybe a little bit too far out, but it looks like she'll have a good crack at this one.
And at this distance, she ought to. From Ulverston in Tasmania. Across the face. But again, I think that showed that distance wasn't the issue there.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely made it. Just unfortunately moving to the side there. So 7 minutes to play now in the last term. Well, it appears Southport have held off a third quarter comeback from the Kings. Still 7 minutes to play, but they've done very well to make things increasingly difficult for Coorparoo.
And they're playing it out. Oh, it was unintentional Falcon as Bruard caught one in the noggin. O'Brien through Gregory, knocked over by Robinson. Players down in back play. O'Brien helped up by players from both sides.
Been a very physical affair, hasn't it? We've seen quite a few players limping off after some big hits.
That was Rose Collins who was knocked as Southport have the free kick in centre field through Gregory. Over the top, and that one beats Mackie. Falls into the contest. Bolts is behind it. Mackie's in the middle of it. And Edmonds is on top of it. Crashing through was Hannah Davies. Davies goes to ground. I think she was trying to split the canyon open. And just willed the defence to split like Moses in the Red Sea.
Just in front of the umpire.
Jazz, Paul Sexton.
Gregory wins the hit out. It goes all the way back to Bruard. Bruard had enough time and space to put in a good shot. It'll be cleaned up on the line by Farrell.
It was great positioning from Farrell. Probably noticed the distance and the accuracy has been a little bit off, so just staying alert there.
A legend in Cairns football. So grateful to have her down here in the southeast of Queensland. I think that was called for a throw. So the free kick will go against Lamon to Southport. In fact, that was Taylor just asking who me. Eventually the umpire said, yes, you. Lamon doing enough to put off Davis. And then backed away from the contest. O'Brien. She broke a tackle by O'Brien. It's possible. Lamon. Over the top, O'Brien gets it now. She will get you in the end, whatever way possible. Brouard. Brouard, cross for Davis. That's the easiest mark she'll take tonight. Davis got a decent long boot on her.
Almost too far though. Just missed the hands of her own teammates.
Well, I think just in front of her, the Southport player was held out of the contest, which gave Crosby the space. Perry just dropped it in front of her, falls to Ship. Ship given space by Mackie. And then, oh, I hope Blue hasn't done a hammy there. She slid on the ground as Farrell drops it. Falls back into the goal path, but she has a teammate there being able to clean it up. Did she run into trouble? She did indeed. Southport looking to put a full stop on an emphatic performance. Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Taylor Gregory kicked her first in the first term. Looking to go back page of the bulletin again, it appears.
Didn't know you still cared. Taylor Gregory on a slight angle. Goes for the little dink. The dink is to the right.
No comment to that last one, Dan. As we've got about 3.5 minutes left here.
Before this game, Southport's defensive record this year was conceding 7.8 points per match. Well, this performance by Coorparoo will push that up to 7.85 as Young marks at left halfback.
Actually, Dan, I will say one of my highlights of the bulletin was actually getting women's footy on the back page, so I hope they can keep doing that.
Your legacy will live on, Hannah, and yes, Hannah's just left the Gold Coast Bulletin, but the work she did to promote all women's sport, her beloved netball, the Bond University QAFLW, and I mean, you're a journalist, your job's not to be a promoter, but it was certainly always gratefully received by those of us inside the comp. Now you're a commentator, so your stocks have fallen. Robinson, good to see her back on the field. Found Taylor, was looking for Lamon, could only find Pluples.
Pluples has had some great involvements today. She just hangs back and picks up, things at the right time.
As Farrell contested that hard. She's been doing that for most of the night. And then Edmonds, who also is someone who plays a lot of reserve grade, but she never looks out of place when she comes up. And as I say, a coaching career awaits. Gregory's beaten by Robinson as the 232s. Back to Bolts. Haven't seen her for a little while. Down the throat of Oliver at the back. Oliver dropped it under immense pressure. And then the tackle continued after the ball was disposed, but it will just be a boundary throw-in. And I'm going to back the umpire's call over mine, given our respective distances from the ball. So Southport finishing the match with the kind of territorial dominance they haven't really had at all tonight. Gregory knocked it back, but it fell to Oliver, and then they were able to clear behind the contest. Looking for Lamon. Pluples attacked it. Then goes back to put pressure on the kick. Coorparoo good enough to clear. Not that far, though. Hunter. Hunter back into the hot spot. I thought Gregory had that. Just fell over her back. Crosby battling hard. Crosby pulled off the contest by Mitchell. An unnecessary scuffle on the ground. That was just players falling to ground. Bolts is going and calming people down. They're just a couple of heated heads, and thankfully there are enough calm people to just go, oh, we don't need this. We've had a good night.
1 minute to go here in round 6, and Southport look to again cement their top spot on the ladder, undefeated.
Set shot to Mitchell. Off target. Bolts just goes to give Mitchell a bit of encouragement, but they've hit 40 for the night. And in many ways, the scoreline matches that of the win over Bond a couple of weeks ago, but the method has been entirely different.
It has, and I think the defensive pressure from Coorparoo has actually contributed to that, a bit of the inaccuracy just from fatigue.
Smart job to centre half forward. Gregory attacked the ball well. Coorparoo able to clear again through the left foot of Farrell. Blue went for the spectacular full stop. But hopefully Dion Menzies of High Flyer has got a photo of that. No, well, if you want to see photos of this match, there are several photographers who work in this competition. But High Flyer Images, Dion Menzies and Sue Menzies, their Facebook page is absolutely worth following.
And that brings us to the end of the Southport Sharks taking on the Coorparoo Kings, and the visiting side have extended their undefeated lead to 6 now with a great win, 39-9, 5-9, 39, 1-3-9. Well, another classy performance from Southport, but interesting to know what's going on in that coaching bench, because I actually don't feel like it was their best. I feel like they were really challenged by Coorparoo, and I know the coaching bench is walking past us, so I'll keep pumping them up. But yeah, look, I think you look at that scoreboard, and yes, there was a 30-goal difference, but I think it was a really challenging game for Southport. And, you know, we spoke about it kind of all night, but I think their defence was what made it so difficult. What I loved about it was actually their positioning. I think their positioning was the standout. They were always in the right spot to make things difficult, and we saw a lot of key defenders, whether it was an Oliver or a Blue, standing in that square, and they were always ready for anything less than completely accurate, which is why I think Southport had to be so accurate. And I think as well, that's probably why we saw a bit of inaccuracy from Southport, you know, 9 behinds. I think it was the fatigue, you know, they were having to win those foot races a lot, which they were winning, but I think that was contributing to, yeah, just a bit of that inaccuracy at the post today.
Look, completely agree with all of that. That's excellent analysis. I'll very quickly give you my 3-2-1 for the match. You can follow up with yours. The 1 point, I'm going to go forward. I thought Taylor Gregory just played above herself and kept going to the end. And, yeah, she's been playing better each week. That one, I'm happy to give her a commentator's 1 vote today. The 2 votes, Isla Feder-Hugic, her ability to not only cut off a lot of the Southport attacks herself, but also direct people around her, and a lot of the off-the-ball work she did to make sure that other defenders were in the right place were incredible. I think I've got to go Poppy Bolts for the 3. Just when the game was on the line, and I mean, I'm leaving out so many good players tonight. Plooples was great on the wing. O'Brien was wonderful in the middle. I mean, just looking down, Lee Alder did a lot of good things in defence. I'm just picking names at random because they're all good. But ultimately, I think the person who gave the best performance when it mattered over the most quarters was Poppy Bolts. There's a reason she's a Brisbane Lion. I cannot wait to see her at the top level.
I completely agree. Poppy Bolts certainly gets my 3 for the night. I think her speed was exceptional, and her ability to just run with anything. I still think back to that little moment where she moved backwards, you know, just not just a great athlete with her, you know, speed and agility, but also just a really clever player. I think for me, you know, 2 or 1 was Abby Plooples. I think she contributed really nicely today. She was just always there when you need her, which is what you want, and that's something that we, you know, speak about with Southport, is that support they give every contest. Laura Blue, I thought she was brilliant. I mean, that's not a shock, is it, at all? You know, it was in 50 games for the club, and I thought that she contributed and led that defensive lineup for Coorparoo. And just one other mention that I did think was really good was Darcy Davis, because I thought she played really low error. You know, pretty much every time the ball went to her, she took it with great, strong hands, and I think it's often really hard to play low error footy because there's so much going on. It's a really difficult sport, clearly. But I think what she does is she plays low error footy, and she just contributes nicely. She just chips away here and there. And in the air, she's also just really hard to stop.
Just very quickly, I think Darcy Davis will be named in the best by Peter Doherty today, because that's the kind of performance that coaches love. I'm changing positions, and you did outstandingly well. She'll get rewarded.
Absolutely. Well, Southport go 6 on the trot now. And I think they're coming up to a bye now, am I right?
Competition-wide bye next week, and then the week after we are at Energy Oval in Stafford for Wilston Grange versus Yeronga South Brisbane.
We will be. Now, that will be a big one. Yeronga, I think, yet to get a win, and Wilston Grange, well, they finished wooden spoon last year, but they're turning things around.
Massive culture shift. I look forward to highlighting that on the call in 2 weeks' time.
It'll be great. Well, my name's Hannah Davies. It's been great to have you all here on the air, and Daniel Viles, brilliant as always.
Thank you so much.
See you next week. The week after the bye. See ya.
Comes out.